Hi there guys, today I'm talking about medical cannabis potentially for benzo recovery, agoraphobia and anxiety. Now, full disclaimer, I haven't tried medical cannabis yet. But if you have, feel free to let me know. Because I'm quite interested. I've recently signed up for a clinic myself. It's recently been made legal in my country for medical use when prescribed. So I'm very interested to try. So recently I joined a clinic called TMCC, which is one of these new medical cannabis clinics in the UK, and I joined a trial called the P21 trial. It stands for Project 21. And this is for anyone that wants to try medical cannabis and that has failed on at least 2 other licensed medications for their diagnosed condition, often by, for example, the NHS. Now, I don't know whether medical cannabis is right for benzo recovery. Like, I'm 2.5 years off, so I'm not exactly coming off, as it were, but I have that in my past. I still have anxiety around that, and I still don't know if it's connected or whatever, but I still have anxiety disorder, or I still have significant anxiety. Whether or not it's disorder, that's a deep question, but I still have anxiety. I still have agoraphobia, where I struggle to go out. Now, some people say medical cannabis does work for them, and other people say it's the worst possible thing you could ever try. Why on earth would you make that choice? So, at the moment, I'm very unsure. And so if you have any of your experiences, I'd love to know. Now, I will be trying in a few days. I've already been accepted. I've already been through the process. I've already been through all the stuff. I'll explain it. Perhaps I'll explain it in another video, but basically you apply, you have a consultation. If you're accepted, you have to send your records off, of course. Then you have your consultation. If you're accepted and they think that your past is, warrants medical cannabis, then you're accepted. It's pretty easy, to be honest. It wasn't difficult at all. But yeah, so I've been doing that for 3 weeks now. I've been in that process for 3 weeks, and I'm almost done with it. So 2 seconds. Oh crap. So yeah, in a few days' time I'll have medical cannabis in the UK, and it's genuinely not to get high. It's an attempt to treat my issue. Whether or not it'll work, I'm very skeptical. I'm extremely skeptical, because I should note that I have used street cannabis in the past, a long time ago. Probably about, the last time would have been 4 years ago, before I was completely off benzos. The last time I tried, I had significant anxiety for, my heart rate went up really crazy, sort of thinking I'm going to die. So the idea of willingly doing it is ridiculous, and I wouldn't ordinarily do it. However, there is a caveat to that, and that is there's a few reasons why it might be different. The first reason is last time I tried it, I didn't. First of all, I didn't even make it myself. It was someone else that made it. I was drunk, so there's that. Um, I probably took way too much. Probably used way too much. It was mixed with tobacco because that's how everyone does it in the UK, or at least that's how a lot of people do it. So all these different things is like, it was street cannabis. It wasn't medical. It wasn't even medical back then. It was street cannabis. So the THC levels were through the roof. There was probably no CBD. So all these different things have made me reconsider. Now I did use it in the past before that even. So the last time I used it before that was years ago. But there was one point, probably about 12 years ago, where I did use cannabis pretty much every day. And I think that was when I was self-medicating before I was on benzos, and I think it was very good back then. And I worked fine on it. Like, I was able to go to work in the city, and I was fine on just doing cannabis every day. And it didn't make me lazy, it made me more productive. So, yeah. But yeah, that's my past experience with medical cannabis. Now, obviously, medical cannabis is different. Well, some medical cannabis can be different because it has a higher CBD level. Some have lower THC levels. Stuff that I'm getting is much lower in THC than the stuff on the street, and it's much, 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 much higher in CBD. So that's the only reason why I'm considering it. If it was obviously like the stuff on the street, I wouldn't even think about it, because that would just blow my head off, and there'd be no way that would be ridiculous. Like, there's no way that I would even think about it. But yeah, so just briefly, the two strains that I will be getting are, I'm trying to remember from memory here, and like I said, I used to be on benzos, so good luck. Noidex T5C7 Balanced Kush is the daytime strain. They give you two strains a lot of the time. And the second strain is Hindu Kush Kiron T22C0. So the T means THC percent and the C means CBD percent. Now obviously that second one's got no CBD in, so I did say to him, I don't want it. He gave it to me anyway. I don't want it. I've told him I don't want it. But you can't just, I don't know, I didn't want to argue with him either, so I just accepted it, but I'm not going to use it, or rather I'll save it, because I guess I'm paying for it, so I don't want to throw it away. But yeah, you can see the issue here. So, but the daytime one, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and microdose it. So at first, anyway, like, I'm not gonna be ripping the bong or something crazy or whatever. Like, that's not even how you're supposed to do it. So the way I'll be doing it, and the way you should be doing it, is vaping it. And you put it in a dry herb vaporizer and you vape it. I'm going to start at 160, but I've been told to do 180 to 200. The reason I'm doing 160 is because I might as well start off lower, and build it up gradually. So those are the two strains that I've been prescribed, and that's what I'm about to try for anxiety, agoraphobia, and just being a past, having issues with addiction in the past, basically addiction issues, I guess, and still recovering from them as well, for sure. I still can't really drink, so, or at least I think I can't. I probably could. That's just where it gets in your head. So I'd be very interested to hear other experiences from people that have tried medical cannabis in benzo recovery, or just with anxiety in general, or just with agoraphobia in general, or whatever, I get these like recurrent thoughts, and they're difficult to deal with as well. Now I have tried just CBD, but it's hemp, so it's different. It's just not the same. But it did help a little bit. Obviously, when you sort of Google things and you say, you know, does cannabis help with anxiety, you'll get two completely different answers. You'll get no and yes. And no matter how much you look into it, it's always going to be no and yes. And it's just so confusing. And I think the reason is, from what I understand about the science and experience around it, is in low doses it can help anxiety, perhaps, potentially. And in high doses, in general, it will cause anxiety or significant anxiety. So that's another reason why I'm going to just microdose it. And I'm talking a really small dose at first, just to see like if it changes my cognition in any way. But as it's a 5% CBD and 7% 5% THC, 7% CBD strain, I've never done anything like that, so I don't know. Like my experience is probably of the street. My experience is of the street stuff that's always 0%. It's basically 0.1 or under percent CBD. So some people say that when you've got more CBD than you've got THC, that it can kind of balance it out. It can kind of, prevent anxiety. It can become very relaxing, or relaxing at least. So some people say it can sort of counteract it basically, and they can deal with it and it helps them. Obviously, I don't know whether or not 5% THC is too much. I think I asked him for like 1%, but he seemed insistent that THC can help it, which I disagree with, but I'm not the doctor. I'm not the cannabis doctor, I guess. So, I'd love to hear your experiences if you've had success with medical cannabis, or if you haven't as well. That's also very important. I'll be trying it in 3 or 4 days maybe from now. Probably won't feel anything for a while because it will be such a low dose. But yeah, I'm very anxious to try. I'll make a different video about what the process is in the UK regarding medical cannabis. Other people have already made videos on it, but I'll document my own experience as well because it's been quite interesting doing it legally and trying to, navigate, all these clinics and stuff, finding the cheapest clinics and stuff. It's not too expensive, and obviously it's probably a lot safer than just buying it on the streets, because I wouldn't do that anyway anymore. But yeah, as I say, just let me know if you have experience with trying medical cannabis, if you've had success, if you haven't, because I'll be very interested to hear, and hopefully the next time I'll know what my experience is with it. See you soon.